After proclaiming himself Emperor of the newfound Galactic Empire, Palpatine was confronted by the Master of the Jedi Order within his office below the Senate, Master Yoda. He ventured there, determined to launch a last stand for the Jedi, and desperately attempt to kill the new Emperor. However, after a lengthy duel, the two warriors of the light and the dark were separated, and Yoda was forced to flee. But what if that had not happened? What if beyond all odds, Yoda successfully killed the Emperor? Welcome to What If Star Wars Explained, where we take a part of the wide Star Wars universe and change it to explore the unforeseen consequences. As in regular continuity, Yoda and Palpatine would engage in a duel of spectacular fashion, with the Grand Master giving the fight everything he had in a last hope to destroy the Sith Lord. After successfully disarming Yoda, the Emperor would shoot huge torrents of Force lightning as the two warriors connected on a Senate craft. Yoda would use Terminus to catch the deadly Darkseid ability, and for a time briefly overwhelm Sidious. But the Darkseid would rebound, and both Sidious and Yoda would be flung from the craft. Sidious would barely hold on as Yoda tumbled farther. Barely catching another craft, Yoda would muster all of his strength, pulling himself away from the depths of the Senate building. Out of the corner of his eye, Yoda would spot his lightsaber, using the Force to call it to him. As the Emperor himself rose, all he would see was the cloak of Yoda falling below. The Emperor would quickly inform clone troopers to search for the Jedi Master and kill him on sight. Yoda, secretively, would lurk around the Senate halls, evading the troopers. As this was occurring, through the Force, the Emperor could sense something. His new apprentice, Lord Vader, was in trouble. As Yoda climbed through the halls of the Senate, the Emperor would order his troops to follow him and chart a course to Mustafar. Just as the craft Sidious and his troops were unlocked in place in the Senate and the two troops exited, Yoda would spring from above, activating his lightsaber at the final moment, impaling it through the back of Lord Sidious. In a scream that did not seem human to the Grand Master, the Sith Lord's eyes would turn pure yellow with hatred. Sidious would extend one hand, then begin to cackle sinisterly. "You have no idea what you have just done, Master Jedi." Suddenly, a huge blast of blue energy would burst from within Palpatine as Yoda would be flung from the craft. Across the stars, the newly deemed Lord Vader and Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi would be engaged in a heated duel when finally the Jedi would cut down his former apprentice, watching as his body fell onto the volcanic shore. As the Jedi Master looked upon his student, tears would well up in his eyes, and he would tell him he was his brother and that he had loved him. Vader would only scream, and in a moment of pure fury exclaim, "I hate you." Time would pass, and the burning body of Vader would sit, the pain too intense to comprehend. Finally, two clone troopers would find Vader, retrieving him and placing him on a shuttle set for Coruscant. After hearing of his death, Palpatine's close advisor, Mas Amenda, would receive a secret previously recorded message. Once opening it, Mas would see it was from Palpatine. Following viewing the message, Mas would learn Lord Vader was to inherit the Empire, and for Mas to give the Sith everything he needed. The message would explain Vader had the potential to rule indefinitely, and that Mas was to serve him faithfully. Frightened to his core, Mas would visit Vader where he was being rebuilt following his injuries. Quick note here, in Legends continuity, it is made abundantly clear Palpatine intended to live forever through means we wouldn't find out until much later, but for canon, this is not the case. In canon, Vader is far more important to Palpatine than compared to their Legends counterparts. In canon, Vader is described as a potential successor, and as Palpatine ages, Vader is his #1 candidate by far to inherit the Empire. To put it very simply, the two versions of Palpatine have drastically different mindsets concerning the end goal and Darth Vader. Emperor Vader, Mas would say, "What did you call me? Your master, he perished. You have inherited the Empire. Where's Padme?" "What, my lord?" "Padme," Vader would shout. I do not know," Mas would respond. "You are no use. Leave me," Vader would exclaim. While being rebuilt, Vader would request the finest materials possible to construct his new suit. Despite being severely burned and crippled, with the technology, he could prove to be more powerful than ever. Another note here, in regular continuity, Vader's suit was not actually built with the best available materials. Palpatine cut many corners when Vader's suit was built, as in some very twisted way he wanted Vader to pay for his failure. As a result, the suit was large, clunky, and very painful. But in this scenario, since Vader essentially commands the Empire, his suit is going to be significantly superior to how it was in regular continuity. A better suit means a more powerful and capable Emperor Vader. At this point, news of Palpatine's assassination would spread across the stars, making the Jedi even more hated than in regular continuity. By the thousands, civilians would turn Jedi into the Empire. Another note here, again in canon, Palpatine really sells the idea the Jedi tried to assassinate him. It's actually his major key to getting the galaxy to turn on them. But But now with his actual death, Palpatine has become a total martyr, and even those that previously supported the Jedi are abandoning them. For the time being, the Empire would have the complete upper hand, with a mysterious leader that people knew little of. At this point, Vader would have received his new suit, and against the counsel of his advisors, he would personally wish to kill several Jedi. On Coruscant, as a group of Jedi attacked an Imperial stronghold, Emperor Vader would make his grand appearance, descending to them in a massive shuttle. When the doors of the shuttle opened, to the Jedi's shock, only Vader exited. Igniting his newly forged lightsaber, the new Emperor methodically took his first step towards the Jedi. "Is that a droid, Master?" the youngest of the group asked, turning to the tallest of the group. "I don't know what it is, but I can say, I have never sensed anything like it." Vader would now begin to approach the group, lightsaber held at his side. The tallest and leader of the Jedi now would hold his own lightsaber towards Vader. "Depart, Menace," he would say confidently. Vader would only slightly tilt his head as the Jedi standing next to the leader began desperately choking and clinging at their throat. Witnessing this, several of the knights took 2 steps back, but the leader stood firm. Vader had now taken the time to fully assess the situation. Not counting the Jedi that would soon be dead, he counted 4 knights, 1 Padawan, and the Jedi Master planted firmly before him. Now prepared, Vader would widen his stance and hold his weapon above his head, signaling the lightsaber form to Jem So. In response, the Jedi Master would move his weapon outward and to the side, signaling Form 2, Makashi. The Jedi Master would then jab forward, as with incredible speed, the Dark Lord sidestepped the attack with efficiency that even surprised him. Vader would cleave his lightsaber downward, as despite the imposing stature of the Master, Vader was still easily a foot taller. Barely dancing out of the way, the Jedi would again find his footing. Vader would firmly plant his right foot, pushing off it, using its momentum to again strike at the Jedi Master, moving his lightsaber in a wide motion across his chest. This is where the Jedi would make a fatal mistake. Forced to take the attack head on, the Jedi raised his blade, as Vader effortlessly smashed the weapon to the side, using the strength of his cybernetics. Vader would quickly rear his right arm backwards, then plunge it forward through the stomach of the Jedi. He then slowly cocked his head backwards to catch the petrified faces of the remaining knights. Removing his arm, the body of the Jedi Master limply fell at the feet of the Sith Lord. 2 of the Jedi turned and ran, as Vader began again moving forward. The Emperor would then reach out with his right arm, still bloodied by the Jedi Master, and huge torrents of electrical discharge exited his cybernetic fingertips. The 2 fleeing Jedi instantly fell to the ground, overwhelmed by the pain of the attack. Side note here, again, Vader's suit is now top of the line, and in Legends, Vader was capable of an ability called Kinetite that was similar to Force Lightning, but not as powerful. Here I thought it would be interesting if he had a similar ability to compensate for his inability to use Force Lightning. In Legends, although we never get a concrete answer, it suggested Kinetite may be a discharge actually built into Vader's suit itself, and it's not a Force ability at all. Because of that, I thought it would be a cool concept to bring back in this story with his new suit. Vader would extend both arms, grasping both the Padawan and the remaining knight with the Force. With a single motion of his arms, the 2 Jedi would be flung into buildings across from one another, killing them instantly. Vader would step forward as a crowd had gathered to witness the seemingly unstoppable force. 1 Jedi again would attempt to run, as Vader in a subtle motion of his fingers would break his leg, and he for a final time fell to the ground. Vader would plunge his saber into the back of the other Jedi, still laying before him, as he deactivated his lightsaber and placed it on his belt. At this point, a battalion of clones had arrived, as Vader turned, walking back to his shuttle. As the clone leader approached Vader, the Sith would turn, pointing his finger back at the severely injured but still breathing Jedi. "A prize for you, Commander," Vader would comment, uttering the first words of the engagement. Then the Emperor would enter his shuttle without another word. So I'm going to end it there with part 1, but don't worry, part 2 will actually be out tomorrow, so stay tuned as we catch up with the Jedi and see how they plan on taking out Vader. If you enjoyed, I would really appreciate it if you would leave a like, as that determines how often I write and produce the what ifs, and it really helps motivate me to write more. If you have any what if scenarios of your own you would like to see, do not hesitate to leave them below, as I do read them all and a lot of them are really interesting. Again, part 2 of this scenario will be out tomorrow, so don't worry. If you haven't yet, maybe consider subscribing to ensure you stay up to date with everything Star Wars related. If you would like to talk to me directly, you can follow me on Twitter at Stupendous Wave. Thanks so much for watching, may the Force be with you, and have a great day.